What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be breaking down Guns, Nerds, and Steel's video from when he was at TwitchCon and what he found out about Alpha 22. So I think it's going to be a really cool video. If you guys do enjoy it, make sure to smash up that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But let's go.
I just got back from Las Vegas, Nevada, where I attended TwitchCon. The Fun Pimps had a booth set up there, so I was able to meet and sort of interview several of the devs while I was there, and I just wanted to share some of that news with you all. The three major topics are Alpha 22 development news, console version news, and some teaser information about a new game which is under development called Blood Moons. And at the very end,
what I really like about Guns, Nerds, and Steel is he goes really in depth in the fact that he has such a close relationship with a lot of these guys, that he gets a lot of this information. Being at TwitchCon was really cool too, so he got to experience the game firsthand. And a special, shout out to Guns, Nerds, and Steel. If you guys are not subscribed to his channel, make sure you do that. He is an amazing content creator. And yeah, so let's keep going.
And I'll reveal what I predict will be the release date for all three.
Now, with this new game, 7 Days Blood Moons, from what I've seen about that, it's kind of like a Dead by Daylight kind of thing, based on what I've seen. I could be wrong, but I want to say that's what it looked like when I saw that before. Why they're coming out with a new game right now before finishing 7 Days to Die, that's a whole nother subject and a whole nother video for that.
Three of these. So let's jump right in, but unfortunately I don't really have much to show you in the way of new footage, so I'll do my best to kind of select some relevant footage for you to watch while you're listening to this. So, what's new in Alpha 22? Well, I did an entire video on this a few months ago, and everything in that video is still relevant and accurate. So, we are getting the new character armor sets and the new character models. That'll be kind of like the...
Now, I really like some of these character models. Some of them I think look ridiculous, like the nerd guy. No, who's going to use that? Maybe there's somebody out there who will, but it definitely isn't going to be me. Yeah.
Flagship update here for Alpha 22. And if you need to vent and complain, please spare me and take it over to the forums. I mean, for one, I'm gonna enjoy this. I think this is long overdue to get the new armor sets, although you'll never catch me dead wearing the nerd outfit. However, we're also getting a remake of all 4 vehicles, and I'm hearing some rumblings that there may be an additional high tier vehicle that's under consideration, but likely not for Alpha 22. Geez, I wonder what that could be.
Right, so if you guys haven't been up to date and watching that, he's talking about there's been helipads all over the new POIs. So we're thinking that might be a new form of transportation that a lot of us 7 Days to Die content creators have been talking about helipads. If that does come into the game, maybe Alpha 23, something like that. I don't know. That could be really cool though.
Anyway, the toilet mini bike I have confirmed is a go, unless we can make enough noise and convince them to scrap this thing and start.
Now see, I have a different opinion than Guns, Nerds, and Steel as far as this. I think it actually looks kind of cool. Like, it's different than the other mini bike. I think the toilet aspect, I think it's kind of cool. Honestly, that's just my opinion now.
Over, but we'll also see an additional, I think it was 2 tier 5 POIs that I heard about, a bunch of other POIs. They've teased a couple of them over on Twitter. I'll post some images up here for you. And it has been confirmed pretty much that bandits are just, being delayed again until...
That was frustrating for me, the bandits thing, because a lot of people are looking forward to the bandits having NPCs in the game. It just brings more life into it, an extra aspect of the game. It feels like when you're playing solo that you're not alone. Even though you are having the NPCs and not just zombies, it makes it feel like the world is more alive.
Till at least Alpha 23, which in all fairness they did when they were teasing this stuff back during the Alpha 22 developer live streams. It said Alpha 22 plus, so the writing was on the wall even way back then in the springtime. The zombie variation thing has been a really interesting addition, and that was actually in the console demo that they had at TwitchCon. So I was playing around. I played probably a total of about 3 hours on console, just kind of explore.
3 hours, that's pretty cool that at TwitchCon you got to play for 3 hours on Alpha 22. That's pretty awesome.
And seeing what everything looked like and felt like, and yeah, I think the zombie variation thing was the most noticeable change. It's a very welcome addition. I like it. And
that's another thing too that I've talked a lot about on my console update videos. The zombie variations, especially for console. Like PC, they have more variations already as it is, but for the console players who are really looking forward to this for coming out on PS5 and Xbox Series S and X, having those variations to the zombies, having more zombies to see is going to bring a lot of replayability into the game, because you're not seeing the same 6 or 7 zombies throughout the whole entire game. So I think that's huge for the console community.
I can't wait to kind of, see it on all of the zombies. I think they have most of the zombies, but they're not going to do variations for, like, I think it was like the Feral White, the Soldier, the Demo. There's a couple that are just going to be the same regardless. So Rick did tell me that they've hired a new VFX artist, and so they've teased this new
The Burning Barrel looks pretty good. Like the rest of the game itself, it looks basically where it was at before on console, or not on console, on PC. But the Burning Barrel effect, the fire looks a lot better than it has previously.
Burning Barrel as an example of this little overhaul that they're doing. That was teased a few days ago over on Twitter. I'll pull that up for you here, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. So this VFX artist is redoing all of like the particle effects, so basically grenades, pipe bombs, rocket launcher, any kind of like explosion. It's going to be redone for Alpha 22. And the last thing I want to touch on is performance. That was probably the most heavily requested question that I got while I was there. I put out some community posts and such. So I've been informed of there being at least a 5% baseline boost in FPS in Alpha 22.
5% baseline boost in FPS. That's really good, because there's a lot of people who have complained about the frame rates for 7 Days to Die, especially on console, but a lot on PC as well. So getting that boost, yeah, it's not a huge number, but 5% still kind of a lot. So that's good to hear.
And I think they're starting to focus on this more and more, because they need to get the base game in a state where it will work well on like comparatively weak consoles, because if Alpha 22 performed the way it does right now, I don't think consoles would be able to run it, at all. So they have.
That's interesting. So I don't remember this part when I've watched this previously. That the way it's running right now for Alpha 22, that wouldn't run on console. So the fact that they're boosting that up, that is very good news for console players who are, super excited for this game to be coming out. So that's good to hear.
Had to make a whole bunch of improvements there. So the biggest improvement comes with a change with how windows work. Essentially what happens is if you're close to a window, you can see through it. The opacity is high, but as you get further away, the window becomes sort of like glossed over and hides what's inside the building. So whatever is inside the building is no longer.
That is one way to take care of that. So I think that's smart on their part, to where you still get to see through when you get close, but it blurs out. So the game doesn't have to work as hard, your PC, your console, whatever, doesn't have to work as hard to render in so many different things.
Longer rendered for your computer. So what this means is if you're on a downtown street in the current game, the interior of all the surrounding buildings is being rendered for you. You have furniture, lights, paint textures, reflections, etc. So your frame rate gets bogged down, particularly with like a bunch of skyscrapers nearby. We all know the Shong Tower, Crackbook HQ, they're awful, because anytime you get close to them, your PC renders the thousands of props that are inside them. But with the new...
That's going to be extremely helpful, especially for consoles that aren't running as good of hardware as some of the PCs that are out there. So that's really good news.
Window opacity, most interiors will not render unless you're like directly looking inside of them. So in cities, what I've been told is that the FPS boost, it's greater than 5%. So 5% baseline, but maybe like 25%. I'm just throwing that number out there. If you're in like a downtown.
If it is 25%, that's pretty good.
Area. So I really look forward to doing some additional testing on this myself, but really like a 5% boost from a single change like this, it sounds pretty good. Okay, let's move on to the console news.
All right, guys, this is what most of my subscribers and people who are here watching are looking for. So
Alpha 22 will be the first version for the re-release of the console version. So in case you're
remember that, guys, re-release, new game. So put that in the back of your mind. Don't write it down. Don't forget.
Not up to date on what happened with the console thing, let me give you the real quick rundown for you right here. And also I'll play some actual console footage for you while I'm talking about this. So several years ago, the Fun Pimps hired Telltale Games to publish the console version. Telltale Games went out of business. 7 Days to Die console version ownership rights got tied up in the legal system for several years, but TFE eventually wins them back in court. They then hire a new company to port the game back to console, but they still don't technically have the rights over the old console version, so this has to be a re-release and not an update, which is all the same anyway, because PS4 and Xbox One simply are not strong enough to run the modern version of 7 Days to Die anyway. So here we are, we're expecting a brand new re-release of console version in Alpha 22. And so that will have to be released alongside or shortly after the release of Alpha 22, seeing how it contains all the new things that Alpha 22 will have. I asked them again about crossplay with PC. So basically that means a console player can log on to a server that has PC players on it and you can all kind of play together and enjoy the game. So yes, TFP are still committed to this. They are making the game with that in mind, with that.
Now that I think will be really cool, especially if you have a PS5 or an Xbox Series S or X, but your friend has PC and you want to play together. I think that will be a big seller for a lot of people if that ends up being a fact and comes through. That'll be a big thing for people. Big. So
that functionality. However, it goes beyond the fun pimps. This is not ultimately their decision to make. They need to have Sony and Microsoft on board to get this done. And there's no word on that just yet.
Now, I think Microsoft is going to be a lot easier because of the PC Microsoft situation. I know that Sony has had some problems in the past wanting to do crossplay because they feel like it takes away people spending money on their games, but
apparently things move very slow with these types of decisions, and so stay tuned. They are also still hoping to get some kind of a voucher or a coupon for previous console version owners so that you can get the updated version.
That would be cool. How they're going to figure out who owns it, I mean, that's going to be kind of hard, especially if you got, I don't know. But if they were able to do that, I think that would help a lot of people feel less upset about having to buy the game again
at a discount. But I wouldn't hold my breath on this one. This could simply be lip service to keep people quiet until the eventual reveal that this is not going to happen. I don't know. So from what I've heard, console does struggle a little bit on performance. I mean, the Xbox Series X and Series S and the PS5 are not as strong as modern computers. However, like I said, I did play the demo for several hours. It was on a PS5 and I didn't have any problems at all. However, it was a very small map, just like a limited demo map, and skyscrapers were intentionally removed from that map. And the reason for that is because the console version demo that I played, they didn't have that window update yet that makes skyscrapers perform better. So that's why they left the skyscrapers out. Then they had this fix. They just didn't get to implement it in time for TwitchCon. Just in talking.
Pay attention, guys. This is kind of a big deal here. Pay attention if this is the part I remember.
With people who had played the console version with the window update, the report was that things work dramatically better now on console. So I guess we'll have to wait and see see how that feels on our end. I did ask about the variability, customization options and such on console. So the console version should have almost all of the same menu and customization options that PC currently has, but there may be some limitations due to performance, such as maybe limiting Horde Night zombies. So instead of having 64 zombies, maybe the maximum is 16 or 32. And there also might be a limitation on map size. Maybe 6K is the largest type of a map that we'll see on console.
And 6K is not bad. It's really not. That's still a good sized map.
Because a 6K map is it's going to perform so much better than like a 12K map is going to. To be determined on that one. I'll let you know if I find anything else out. Okay, so the final topic for this video.
All right, so this is the talk about the new game, guys. So let me get your thoughts on this. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this.
Video is going to be the new title under development by the Fun Pimps, which we now know is called 7 Days Blood Moons, or simply Blood Moons. We've known that they've been developing not one, but actually two new titles for over a year now. This was originally revealed and teased during my interview with TFP founders Rick and Joel last year. Before I go further, I've heard a lot of criticism that they're developing a new game while they haven't even finished 7 Days to Die. And I think that's valid too, but it's important to note that they've partnered with Studio Illogica to do most of the heavy lifting, with oversight being provided by a small team of perhaps 10 Fun Pimps. So this new game, it's basically an arcade horror game. 4 players, which will be survivors, will face off against one Hive Master, which is another player. So
a lot like Dead by Daylight.
Basically 5-player co-op. The Hive
This is Dead by Daylight that you're seeing right here. It says Dead by Daylight 2016.
Master will be able to
And I think that's why he's using this, because it's going to be this type of game.
most likely, I kind of tried to tease this out of them. They were trying to be very, very hush-hush about this. This was only supposed to be a very limited reveal, but I did get some information just to kind of get a sense of how all this works. So you got the Hive Master that's facing off against the 4 survivors. I'm pretty sure the Hive Master is going to be able to summon or otherwise control some zombie bots to attack the players with.
It would have been cool if there would have been a teaser trailer for this.
There will be survival elements such as looting, crafting, and buildings, very similar to 7 Days to Die. This is in the 7 Days to Die sort of universe. And the maps will be voxel based, but they're handmade, so there's no like random world generation for this. One single match is supposed to last roughly an hour and span 7 days and 7 nights, which kind of sounds jarring to kind of process through the day-night cycle that quick.
Yeah, an hour for 7 days. That's kind of crazy.
Quickly, but I guess we'll see how that works. And there is some sort of a long-term progression system which will come with the game. So I think it'll be something along the lines of like the better you do, the more XP you accumulate over time. You'll maybe be unlocking weapons or perks or weapon skins, outfits, you know, something like that. So basically this is Dead by Daylight, and that's what I'm showing you right now. This is some Dead by Daylight footage, although they didn't like it when I kept saying that. So they did promise that there is some sort of a unique twist on things that they're going to deliver.
Well, I hope there's a twist, because if we're just getting another Dead by Daylight game, I think there's going to be a lot of people like, why would I quit playing a game that's already been out, that's getting worked on, that has new stuff, opposed to a game that, you know, is like it, but my opinion.
So, you know, I'm not sure what that is just yet. This is definitely not a replacement for 7 Days to Die. It's a completely different style of game, and I'm not sure if I'll even enjoy it, but I'll give it a try. So I like the idea of something more fast-paced, kind of like pick up and play, and it's not the open world survival crafting game, which is the genre that I enjoy the most. So, okay, I promised you some news on release dates. Look, guys,
All right, here we go. Release dates.
you all know how it works at this point in the gaming industry. It's not just 7 Days to Die. All game development companies do this, especially indie game developers. It seems like the AAA developers just start whipping their employees, but you know, indie devs, indie game companies are known for being a little bit better on their employees. So anyway, take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, because everything is subject to change. But here's the scoop. The console version will be on Alpha 22. I've already said that, right? So Alpha 22 needs to be done first so that they can port everything over to console, which I'm told is really pretty much instantaneous. They have a lot better of a system in place now than they did when console version was released back on like Alpha 15, Alpha 16. Okay, so that's out of the way. Blood Moons contains Alpha 22 assets, likely probably character models and outfits and so on. So that will need to wait until Alpha 22 as well. So when are we gonna get Alpha 22? Well, I have it from multiple sources that we're looking at around 6 months from now, which puts us toward the end of Q1 2024. Again, if all goes well. So I would predict that we'll get Alpha 22 first in experimental, with the re-release of console and the debut of Blood Moons into early access shortly thereafter. All right, that's about all I got for you guys when I was over at TwitchCon. Let me know what you guys think of
All right, so, you know, this was a few days ago. Obviously, it was at TwitchCon, so, you know, 6 months. But I think that people are going to be happy with it when it comes out. I think Guns, Nerds, and Steel did a really good job with this video talking about, you know, how everything's working, how everything's coming out. You know, great content creator. So, yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next video.